Hey, this is Tony Soprano, and you're listening to Jersey Boyz Podcast with your hosts, Dave Sturchio and the Ernst Boys. I mean, I could give a shit about the Cowboys. We're in New Jersey. These guys got balls being Cowboys fans in Jersey. Anyways, enjoy. Well, whatever.
How about them Cowboys?
What's going on, Cowboys Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Jersey Boyz Podcast right here on the Chop Sports Media and My Fandom YouTube page, and of course the My Fandom Podcast Network. We have a very, very special guest. We've cut the Grinch for a week. We figured we needed positive vibes heading into the new season. So what better way than to bring in our fourth Jersey boy and I can't even, it's not an honorary thing. You are a Jersey boy. Welcome back. It's Dave Sturchio. It is nationally known comedian Bret Ernst. And of course, the return of Mr. Fourth and Long himself, Jesse Holley. Jesse, what's going on, man?
What's up, man? What's going on? I don't know if I'm like least from the Grinch though. Cause you know, I sometimes I keep it a little bit too real. You know, what's always funny? Like people be like, oh man, you keep it so real. You keep it so real. Keep keeping it real. I go, but when I get fired, none of y'all want to chip in to help me pay this mortgage from keeping it too real. I'm like, because they firing me out here in some of these streets for keeping it too real, man. And so I'm like, just know when I keep it real and they fire me and I put this GoFundMe out for this mortgage that I got to pay every month, you guys make sure you tap into that.
how real is this money?
Right.
Well, listen, hey, first and foremost, dude, I got to congratulate you on the launch of Dallas DLLS. You know, I don't know how people are pronouncing it nowadays, but it's a great lineup, star-studded. You, Clarence, everybody. Aisha Morrison, she's great. You guys have crushed it so far. So congrats on the early success of that, man.
No, man, thank you, man. Yeah, DLLS. That's how you pronounce it, just like that. What did it say? No verbs, no adjective, no nouns, whatever it is. No whatever. I don't know. I'm with the public school in Jersey, whatever the hell they say.
Listen, hey,
I think they're called vowels.
Vowels. There we go. No vowels. There's no vowels.
Brett for the win.
Yeah.
My goodness.
DLLS, man. It's been great. Yeah, man. Myself, Jeff Kavanaugh, Clarence Hill, Aisha Morris, Joe Hoyt. We got a great staff, man. Our producer, Kit Kat. She does an amazing job behind the scenes, man. And shout out to all the people at All City Network who funds this thing. And it's been great, man. It's been phenomenal. And I just look forward to all the great things that we're going to do in the future. But yeah, DLLS.
It's the new wave, I think. The new media stuff is where we're at, because it's like you listen to 105.3 The Fan, which is great. You know, they have the talented guys over there, but then unfortunately people get dragged into the FS1s, the ESPNs, the NFL networks of the world. But the real heart of Dallas Cowboys coverage comes from you guys. And I know that Brett has put over Vach a million times over with his podcast and stuff. He's great. I finally watched one. Dude, he's on the money as well. And of course, I don't want to discredit anybody. I still think the number one, our tribal chief of the entire Dallas Cowboys is Patrick Walker. He's my guy. He's DallasCowboys.com. He is the .com. So he's the mothership.
You have to address him now as Emmy Award winning Patrick Walker.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
You have to address him correctly now. Patrick No-C Emmy Award winning.
Brett, did you have a chance to watch that thing I told you to?
No, not yet. But I want to say something in defense of Jesse and the Grinch, my brother. People confuse being honest with hating, and it's not. Yeah. At the end of the day, these are all great kids. You don't want to see them get food off their table. You know what I mean? They've worked hard. We've all attempted. Jesse obviously had more success than I did. And I think I had more success than you did, Sturch. But the point is that, you know, look, it's our team. You know, we have nothing vested in it other than the love for this team. And, you know, it's not hating. It's if we're just being honest, and that's just all we can do. You know, I come from a good place. You know,
yeah, no, I think we all do, and I think Jesse does too. It's just not, you know, I can't speak for him, but I'm saying, like, I think we all could watch the game on the surface and analyze the X's and O's and stuff. But I think with Jesse, obviously, he knows because he's been in that system. He's already been in that Jerry Jones world where, and I tell people this all the time. Like, I understand Jerry, the businessman, as far as the GM is concerned, is like, it's frowned upon about a lot of Cowboys Nation, the fan base. I can't believe they're dragging their feet. I can't believe this. I can't believe he's waiting all this time for this. But at the end of the day, man, and this goes for Jesse, this goes for Michael Irvin, this goes for Troy Aikman. All these guys that were Cowboys were kind of also set up to succeed post-Cowboy career a little bit, right? I mean, it's on you to determine your success. And I think that Jerry Jones has provided that, just like he provided generational wealth for CeeDee Lamb last week. You know what I mean? So you can hate his tactics all you want, but at the end of the day, Jerry Jones is delivered for this team, and that's why they're the most valuable franchise in the world right now. So it's not,
and we're winning. We're you know, it's not like we haven't won a Super Bowl, but it's not like we're under 500 every season,
right?
You know what I mean?
And we've been
we're
through
in
those.
the same situation that 27 NFL teams are in.
Correct, and I preach on. So Jesse, let's get down to brass tacks, man. It's the 2024 season. You were with us last year, right before the 2023 season, and you said, and I'll paraphrase, but sort of quote, you said the rest of the NFC East was getting better. And I think that still holds true because now you have football people in Washington. You have our boy Dan Quinn in Washington, right?
Yeah.
New York, I still think they're a bottom team in the NFL, but I'm sure they'll be pests when it comes down to it. When you look at this division as a whole, before we get into the Cowboys, have they gotten better or have they gotten worse?
Gotten better. I mean, Washington will take a step up this year. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to be in contention to win the division. They'll be better. Like, they'll be a better football team. That's just, I think, what's going to happen. I think Jayden Daniels is going to elevate that team. I think defensively what they're going to do, they're going to be a better, well-run football team. And so what does that mean? That means if you go into Washington playing around, not finishing your food, you can lose a game in Washington, right? You can go down there and for a guy like Dan Quinn, who kind of knows all of the secrets, so to speak, you still got to stop it at the end of the day. But he knows what Dak likes, what Dak doesn't like. He knows what these guys do offensively. He knows all of what Mike wants to do. They work closely together for the last couple of years, so they're going to get better. And it's every team in the division is built to beat the other team in the division. Like when you watch how teams are built, it's win the division first. So I build my team to win the division first, but able to compete elsewhere. So Washington has built their team to compete with the Philadelphias and the Dallas Cowboys of the world. Daniel Jones hurts significantly the New York Giants. That's a good defense over there, though, for the New York Giants. And Philly's going to be what Philly is. Kellen Moore to me is a guy who has a collection of really good plays, but doesn't have a scheme in which to deploy them. But if Kellen Moore ever figures out like kind of how to set up plays throughout the course of a game to then smack you over the head in the third and fourth quarter, you're in trouble. We're in trouble. Like the league is in trouble because he has a good collection of plays. He just doesn't know what to call. He just can't. He just starts pulling plays out of the air. You're like, that makes no rhyme or reason why you called that play. It's a damn good play. Like the run of it, but not in this moment. But yeah, the NFC East has gotten better, and the Cowboys will have to be on their P's and Q's this year if they plan on winning the division.
Yeah, and that's the number one name of the game. Get out of your division first, get in the dance with a home game, and boom, who knows what can happen. However, after last year, I don't give a rat's ass what seed we get. I just want to get in the dance because I of course, leave it up to the Cowboys to be the first team ever to lose to a 7 seed ever, right? So it's like, oh, cool, we made history. That's fun.
What made that
on the wrong side.
What made that so disappointing is we were set to at least get to the championship game with the home field advantage, and then Detroit winning, I believe, right? And then, but us losing to the Rams, I forget if we would have won, who we would have had the next. It was Detroit, right? In Dallas.
I believe so. I don't remember the path, but I know there was obviously San Francisco wasn't playing around either. They had their path. They were the number 1 seed.
Right, we were number 2, but I'm saying with Detroit,
we would have got a second home game. Yeah, somebody would have come to Dallas and try to fuck around.
And then if we had to see San Fran and San Fran, that's fine. But it again. We fell apart. I think we were overcoached. I don't blame Dak for that game. I mean, a lot of fair weather fans, oh, he threw a pick. He played pretty good. Our defense is what shit the bed. And I remember still seeing, I forgot what defensive tackle was looking like, where am I going? I think we were overcoached. As far as I would like to address the thing, I think we got better. And I think this second system that Dak is in, this Texas Coast offense, I think it suits him. And, you know, the Kellen Moore offense didn't really play to Dak's strengths as much. And I think the new offense does. And, you know, again, you could get a talented player, and if he's not in the right system, and not to bring up an old argument with the Barry versus Emmett thing, okay? Barry's great in that run and shoot, in which he played a lot of his career in, and then later on they changed it, but it was still a different variation. Whereas Emmett, great pro back system. I don't know if Emmett would be great in a run and shoot. I don't know if Barry would have been the same back. So the talent has to thrive in the right system. And I think Dak in this Texas Coast offense, it plays to his strengths. And this is his second year in this offense.
Which kind of,
if he can stay healthy on paper, I think he's going to do really, really well.
And I think that leads to the obvious elephant in the room. Last week, you know, we took care of business with CeeDee Lamb. He's now the second highest paid, you know, receiver in the league, second high, whatever it came, dollar short of Jay Jetta, you know, whatever it worked out to be. But now the biggest thing right now, and again, if you really want to call it how it is, Dak Prescott, he didn't hold out, right? He didn't miss any of camp. Right. He didn't do any of this stuff. He showed up, and he's going to play on this final year. Jesse, where do you fall on this Dak Prescott deal? Because I'm hearing a lot of things now today. What's developed is that it's more of a term length thing, which is crazy because if I'm not mistaken, he wanted a shorter term deal his first go around. And now he's like, got that new dad energy. And he's like, oh, I got to be ready for the rest of my career. I want a long-term deal. So where do you feel this is going to go? We're 2 days away from the regular season starting. I understand the Cowboys don't play till Sunday, but where do you fall on this Dak Prescott? Will it get done? Won't it get done? Should it get done? Do you want it to get done? Where do you stand on all this?
Well, for me, I want it to get done because one, I'm always for player, right? Like I'm always going to be for player. I don't care what the dollar amount is. Jerry Jones and the Jones families are billionaires, not only in the sport, but the 100 other businesses that they own, right? So they're good. Jerry's good. Charlotte's good. Steven's good. Like they're good. So I'm never going to take the side of the owners, right? As far as when it comes to money, I want players to lick these owners for every single dime. Like I just do. I just, because once our skills diminish and dissipate, we no longer can make a living off of our athletic ability. For Jerry Jones is what, 78, 80 years old, 81 years old? I don't know. And as long as he has air in his lungs, he'll make money. And he'll make a boatload of it. And you always have to remember, if you have the ability to pay someone $60 million a year, that means that means that you're making a lot more. And so I want that deal to get done. Will it get done between now and the start of the season? I don't believe so. Now I could be wrong. I don't believe so. I don't believe so. And I think Jerry has finally gotten to the poker table and played a game that he may not be rich enough to win. Because if this thing gets into the season, Dak's already making $55 million this year. That's already in the bank, right? That's fact. That's in there. So whatever the 55 number, he's getting that this year. But the thing that Jerry is doing, and I think Dak wants to be here. I think now that he has had a daughter, he's like, you know what? I'm going to lay roots down here. I don't want to have to go anywhere. But Jerry's going to play that game at the end of the year, and there are some franchises in this league, Vegas being one of them, New York, the Giants being one of them. Pittsburgh will be looking for a quarterback next year. Don't take Tampa off the table. I know that they gave Baker Mayfield, but you can sign and trade. Send Baker Mayfield to Dallas and send Dak over. There's at least 5 to 17 that legitimately. But for me, the Vegas Raiders and the New York Giants, you're going to allow Dak now to go out and be told how pretty he is. Dak has never been courted before. He's never been courted. He was drafted in the 4th round. Franchise, never got a chance to go out there and be told how cute you are, how sexy you are, how beautiful I think you are.
I hear that every day, by the way. Go ahead.
And you're probably paying for it. You're in Vegas, so that usually comes. That usually followed by, "Oh, you're so cute. Here's another $100 bill, honey. Oh, you're so sexy. Here's another $100 bill, honey." And she's like, "Well, that'll pay for another 45 minutes, and I'll just keep, I know how I listen. I've heard what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, so we'll just leave that. We'll just leave that be." But Jerry's gonna allow Dak to get out here in these streets and be wined and dined. And what's going to happen is people, ownership, general managers understand just how important it is to have a franchise quarterback. That puts you in the mix and feel how you feel about Dak. He's in the top 10 conversation, right? And having a top 10 quarterback on your team gives you a significant chance at the Lombardi. Does it happen? No, only one team gets to the year, but it gives you a chance. And like you said earlier, about systems and style. And there are some coaches and GMs and owners are like, if I had that quarterback in my system, we could take it to the top.
But here's the thing, though. Dak has to play this year? He has to.
Yeah.
He has to prove himself, even though he's already proved himself.
So my thing is this: what does he have to prove at this point? Like he has to. Like you're. In order for Dak to not break the bank, he has to do something that he's never done in his 9-year career. Like you're asking him to have a really bad year. Like even when he had the interceptions year, that offense was still one of the top offenses in the league. He was still one of the top quarterbacks in the league as far as passing yards and touchdowns and all those type of things. So you're like, in order for him not to get paid, he either has to have a catastrophic. Remember, he got paid after his ankle was going the opposite way. Kirk Cousins just got $100 million coming off his Achilles at 35 years old. So Dak would have to lose an arm. Like he would literally have to lose an arm or a leg or a heart or something that is so catastrophic that no one wants to touch him. Or he has to have a year that we've never seen before on the negative side of things for people to go, I don't know. But he's never done that. He's never done that.
But here's my question, though. Especially at this age and as he's getting older, it could just be, does he want to make a lateral move? And what I mean by that is that, okay, there may be 3 teams that are going to pay him top dollar, but then they're like the Raiders need a lot of work. Okay. They're not a quarterback away from winning a Super Bowl. Correct? He would either go laterally or down a little if somebody's going to pay him that much. I personally think this is going to be his best year yet. But I do feel that Dallas is waiting too to say, okay, if we're going to invest all this time and money, is this guy our future? And, the window's kind of closing. So I would say if it was, because I wasn't big on the contract, the first one when he was up. Remember that one time I was talking about, I don't want to cripple the team because at the end of the day, I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, not a Dak Prescott fan, even though I love the kid. But is it a crippling move to give him and lock him in for this long time frame if we don't know? Because who is succeeding.
No, I get that point. But again, I'm thinking about it like this. If you look up and down the NFL,
we got money.
Well, I know, but I'm saying if you look up and down the NFL right now, and I told you guys this last week, and it wasn't like an argumentative point. It was just telling you, look around the league. Every team has those top 4, 5 guys that they're paying a boatload of money to, and then everybody else is on the rookie deals and these little veteran minimums and shit like that. So when you pay Dak, all these people, the nonsense that people are spitting right now, that if you pay Dak, you're not going to be able to pay Micah. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. It's asinine to me.
Well, let's get something straight too. If there's no cap the Joneses would outspend everybody to win that damn Super Bowl, right?
92, 93, 95, bro.
Yeah.
Whatever it brand new thing. And we're like, oh, what's that? How much does Dion cost? No, bring him.
Yeah, we don't care because there's no cap. So that's coming into play. It's not that they're cheap. I think they're trying to be frugal, and I don't know what they're doing. Yeah. But if we can sign Dak, guarantee we can re-sign Micah. I mean, because then if we had to sacrifice one of those three,
you don't have to sacrifice any of them.
Yeah,
you don't have to sacrifice any of them.
Then I don't know the holdup.
There is enough. I think the holdup goes to your initial point is that, and I respect the Joneses because when I speak about contracts, I try not to be always player focused or fan focused. I try to think if I had a $10.8 billion franchise, right? Because like you have to think that way. Like you have to think that way sometimes in your take your own budget. And if you have a family, it's like, well, we're not quite buying that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so certain things you look at. So I try to think, does Jerry Jones and the Jones family have the right to say to themselves, before I cut this check? Because if in his quiet time, if Jerry Jones and Steven, whoever, if in their quiet time, when they're by themselves and they're just them and their thoughts, if you believe in your heart of hearts that Dak is not the guy that can get you to the promised land, then I get it. I get it. Because that's a lot of bread that you have to live with spending. And but let me say this. And Jerry has the right. He has the right. He has the right to say so. Now we may not like it, but he has the right to sit back as someone of the owner of this football team and go, do I believe this is the guy? And if I have any reservation, then maybe I do need to see more work. And if it works out, and now Jerry's, you don't get to be that rich of a person if you don't understand the long game. So Jerry understands if I play the long game with this, I have to be willing, because say for instance that Dak takes this team and they get to the NFC Championship. Guess what? It ain't 60 no more. Mm-mm. It ain't 60 no more.
Because why, Jesse? Because yesterday's price is
not today's price. It's 65. It's 66. I think Jerry has to. I think he understands that. I'm not sure if I'm just saying if he's thinking this way. If I'm not sure, then I reserve the right to go and wait and see. But he also understands if I'm proven wrong on the other side and Dak wins an MVP award or Dak takes this team to the NFC Championship or, Lord, please, to the Super Bowl, Jerry is fully aware today, he is fully aware that 5-6 months from now, if this thing turns out the way that we all hope, or I should say we all wish, the price will change. And I think that's where he sits today.
Well, I think he'd gladly pay it. Now, the fact is Dak is still a question mark. And I know he underperformed against San Francisco twice, okay? He played great this season. We still don't know. You can shake your head all you want, Sturch, but that's also on Dak. We don't know who's showing up. Even as a fan, there's nothing definitive. Now, here's what I do know. Is he the reason why we're winning? Was he the reason why we lost? Because let's also look at it this way. When he went down,
you can't have the one without the other. If he's the reason you're losing, then damn it, you got to be the reason you're winning too.
I'm saying it's a unique situation because when he went down, remember he blew the game opening against Tampa that what was that 2 seasons ago? Gets hurt. Fucking Cooper Rush comes in, average or a little above average. Played the system. We end up winning 6 games, right? Or was it 5? With 4. A backup. It was
4-1. It was 4-1, wasn't it? It was 4-1.
4-1.
I'm just saying, and I remember telling Sturch while this was going on, Dak needs to watch and say, look, Dak, you don't have to do too much. You don't have to do extra. Just run the system.
So
play.
Listen,
they thought the same thing. They thought the same thing with Jimmy Garoppolo when he took over for Tom Brady and had that good run. And what happened? Everywhere Jimmy Garoppolo's been, he's been trash. Right?
But I'm not comparing.
I think Cooper Rush was okay. Go ahead.
I'm not comparing, saying Cooper Rush can win us a Super Bowl. What I'm saying is when he stepped in, he started just basically reading, dumping, did what he had to do, and we were winning. Dak is obviously, without a doubt, the better quarterback. What I'm saying is, and as a fan, every year I'm like, is Dak going to blow it for us, or is he going to be the guy that wins? It's still undefined.
So I felt the same way with
to make him a franchise.
Listen, I felt the same way with Romo for a little while. Like, when's that pick coming? When are we gonna blow this? Until the end of Romo's run, where I was like, you know what, dude, this guy can lace it, and we're gonna be fine.
Romo, look. Also, he never had a defense. We've got to fucking.
No, I get that. Defense. I get that. No, but my point is this:
Dak doesn't have Jesse Holley.
Shit, if we had Jesse Holley,
we're going out. No, we're winning everything.
I tell you one thing: I wouldn't have dropped that ball Noah Brown did against the Jaguars for a pick six. There's a couple plays I know I for sure would have made that guys didn't make. There wouldn't have been no balls bouncing off my hands. I can guarantee you that.
My biggest thing with right now with Dak is this: it's, to me, there's nothing left to prove. And that's just from my perspective. There's nothing left to prove as far as his ability to play the game of football at a very, very high level and win some really good games, right? My biggest thing right now is what, and it's clear because 2025, and this is a true fact, in 2025, the Dallas Cowboys do not have a quarterback on their roster under contract. Not one of them. They've denied Trey Lance. Cooper Rush is out. And so is Dak Prescott if this doesn't go the way we hope or wish it would go. My biggest thing is, what's your plan B, man? You know, like right now you have a franchise quarterback.
No, I'm playing.
So no, but like for me, it's there is no plan B. There right now, franchise, and I've said this, I should get it tattooed on my face. Franchise quarterbacks don't grow on trees. And when I say that is, you can't put your shit on a hope and a dream, or guess what? We're going to be back in purgatory from Quincy Carter days, Chad Hutchinson days, Vinny Testaverde, Drew Bledsoe, all those guys. And no disrespect to those guys because they all played well in their own right. But if you lose Dak Prescott after this year, what is your answer? Chances are, if Dak balls out, we have a top 25 pick, right? So you're not going to find somebody in the top 25 when your turn comes in. You're not going to turn in the card and go, this is my Paxton Lynch moment. I'm going to get this guy now, finally. Like, that shit doesn't work. So we need a franchise quarterback. This guy was
but you're
statistically better than Lamar Jackson last year and didn't win an MVP. I understand why Lamar won it. I get it. But
hold on. It's not to win an MVP, and it's not to go to a Pro Bowl. Look at Brock Purdy, who you kept shitting on. Okay? You get these quarterbacks, even Eli Manning. You get these guys that on paper are like, and they just know how to win. They even like Eli Manning, as Cowboys fans, I'd watch him play. He threw the ugliest ball, but goddamn it if it didn't hit the target. You know what I mean? And again, I personally think Dak this is his year to really shine, but to not understand why the Joneses have apprehension, because the track record is still always, it's a seesaw with him.
But 12 wins in a season 3 years in a row, that's a seesaw to you?
Yeah. I mean, this year,
last
year said a lot. Hold on. This last year said a lot. The 3 years prior did not answer any questions for me. And I also found his play to be detrimental against San Francisco. I mean, me and my brother, we got fired because we were so upset.
Shout out Blogging the Boys.
Jesse, we were watching the first time. This is the truth. We were at the pool. We were in Vegas at Circa watching the game. Niner fans everywhere, just watching us implode, and Dak throwing picks and just missing targets. And we got on the air. We had a podcast afterwards, and we were drunk, and it was just pure. We got fired from the network. It was so bad.
See, good thing. Hey, listen, good things happen, man. Look, we're all sitting here, we're laughing about it now.
Yeah.
Right? We're doing our own thing.
But so
dude, it was awful. And then the next season, I mean, we didn't even have a kicker. We got to get. I mean, I love talking the Dak thing, but let's talk about too how amazing getting Aubrey is.
We'll get
no one cares about that. Nobody.
We did when we were missing.
Brett thinks that's our best acquisition in 5 years.
We couldn't make a field goal in the playoffs against the Niners.
Nobody cares about that.
Nobody
cares. But let me say this about the Niners. The Niners made a lot of quarterbacks look really bad. Like they've made a lot of. The only quarterback that they haven't made look bad is the one that no one can make look bad, and that's Mahomes. Like, let's not make this like the Niners are just like the Cowboys are like the one team like all of a sudden the Niners make their quarterback look bad. No, they make a lot of people look bad, and they'll have their slip-ups here and there. But overall, over the last 3 to 5 years, the Niners have made a lot of quarterbacks look very, 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 very pedestrian, Dak included. And I'm not making an excuse for him, but like let's not act like that particular team in what they do defensively doesn't give a lot of dudes problems.
No, I do, but if you're looking at a franchise elite quarterback, you got to work around that. And
but nobody. There's only one person, and he's. Remember what Reggie Miller used to call Michael Jordan back in the day? He called him Black Jesus.
I hate Reggie Miller.
He called him Black Jesus, right? Yeah. Like this is the Black Jesus version of the National Football League right now. Like Patrick Mahomes, like any conversation, I always start with take Patrick Mahomes and put him way up on the shelf over here, and he's not in the equation because people can't name his outside of Travis Kelce last year who his receivers were, right? Like you have to be like a diehard football fan. You know what I'm saying? But he took a down squad to the chip and won it all. He's a different cat, man. Like that dude. So, but let me also put this in, and this is maybe just me having a wild thought. But what if, for whatever reason, whether it's Will or the Joneses, or a collection of them all, have this feeling? Because to your point, you talk about, where do we go? And I'm with you 100%. Where do you go? What's your plan B?
And I don't have a definitive answer. I'm just playing both sides.
But what if the Cowboys feel how they feel about quarterback like they do offensive linemen? Say, we could do that. We know that we can draft and develop offensive linemen. We have a record of showing it. They found, however you may feel how you feel about them, right? They found and developed Tony Romo. And he carried this franchise for 10 years. Here it was for Dak Prescott, 4th round pick. Took Tony Romo breaking his back, Kellen Moore breaking an ankle, and Jamil Showers going to play safety. And they still had to figure out what they were going to do with him because he was a bad practice player. And here it is. They turned him into runner-up to the MVP last year, right?
Jesse, but to that point, Jesse, not to cut you off, but like to that point, remember, it's been reported they wanted Paxton Lynch. So it's not like, that would have been they wanted Johnny Manziel as well, right? But right. So, but to their point, they may say, you know what, kind of they may actually do what Jay-Z said. If you made Hove, okay, make another Hove. And they feel like, well, if we made Dak, we can make another Dak. They may feel that way. I'm not saying that they do, and I'm not saying that it's wise. I'm just saying that these may be some of the thoughts they have. They may feel like, you know what? We can go and find another guy. We can go and find, and if he walks, then that means we have assets to put in other places to grow the next guy that we find. I don't know what their thinking is. I don't know what their plan B is. There is right now, like you said, there is no definitive plan B on the table right now, and you won't be bad enough to realistically put yourself in a position to be in the top 10 where you can draft a quarterback worth anything from on the surface. It's all for the 50-50 shoot, but worth anything that you could say that you can sell now to the fans as my franchise guy.
Well, but other than, it's so hard to draft a quarterback and figure out how they're going to pan out. Most of them bust more than they succeed.
It's true.
My true feeling about Dak is that he was in a wrong offensive system for this is the right system for him. He's great on the run. More quick passes to the outs, coming in as opposed to just sitting back there trying to let it develop, which, Jess, a run and shoot style offense is much quicker than, but in my opinion, I think that it's going to be more how long we sign him as opposed to how much. I think we're going to sign him. I think it's stupid not to. I feel this is going to be his best year. God willing, he stays healthy. And he's got the tools. And again, Romo didn't have a defense. And as much as people, that defense shit the bed. I mean, against the Giants, that's why we lost that game. We were up by 10. And they allowed the Giants to score 2 touchdowns under the last minute before the half, and then another one in the beginning of the half under a minute. Yeah. And, Dak has all the tools to win. I think he is a winner. His life in general is a win. And, the kid is a great kid. I think he had the problem he was overthinking. And I think Kellen Moore put him in an offense where he was overthinking as a play. Because, people forget how smart that kid is. Didn't he learn the playbook in like a week and has like a master's degree in psychology or something?
Yeah, I know he has a master's degree.
Yeah, Dak's a really smart dude. And I think that
listen to the way he talks, man. Every time I talk, I'm like, I wish I could talk like him.
But he's an
he like enunciate. He's like and I always said this. I loved Tupac because of the way he articulated all of his cursing words. Right? Like I was like, damn, he throws that F-bomb really, really well. So like that's the way I look at Dak. I'm like, this guy can talk.
Point, though. His first season, he played so well because he was a newer quarterback. They just let him play. They didn't complicate things, and he just played. That's why when I was bringing up the Cooper Rush analogy.
Well, he had a really good run game that year. Let's not forget like the 13-3 year. The 13-3 year, like
that was Zeke, man.
That was a lot of Zeke Elliott in that 13-3 year.
Brett, you don't remember them calling him Dink and Dak? Like that he wasn't putting the ball in the air.
Well, look, man, I'm already assuming that we know it's a team sport. I mean, you got to fire on a lot of cylinders, which again. We have those cylinders this year. My basic point is that I think that he'll have a great year this year. Do we give him a 10-year contract? No. I would say 5 and under, just to play it safe. We got the money to pay
how it
him.
all plays out. I think he's searching for a 6 or something higher than a 5 because I think the Cowboys would meet him at 5. But we'll see. It's been we spent the greater part of this show already talking Dak. And look, by the time this gets released, who knows? There might be a shiny new contract waiting in my Twitter inbox, and I have no idea. So this whole thing might be irrelevant. So I got to ask Jesse now, heading into the new year. A lot of people have said, there's a lot of talking heads out there that are saying that the Cowboys are, a 7, 8, maybe 9 win team. And I look at this team as a whole, Dak aside, obviously, like the running back by committee. Are you for or against this thing? Because right now it looks like it's going to be Zeke, Rico, eventually some Deuce Vaughn, some Hunter Lipke splashed in. And oh, by the way, we might have gotten a Dalvin Cook. You know what I mean? Like where do you stand on the running back room right now?
I hate committee by anything. I really do. And especially by running back. And Nate Newton and I went back and forth on this. And sometimes I just concede because he has 3 rings. He blocked for the greatest running back, all-time running back in the league, 6-time Pro Bowl. So sometimes I just concede to him. But for me, the running back is a rhythm position. And if I'm subbing a guy out every series, then he has to recalibrate every time he comes back into the game. Right? Like now, like if I get it, like let's say Rico starts or Zeke starts and they go 3 and out. And the next series belongs to Rico or Zeke, however you want to count it. And then he goes 4 or 5 plays, and then they punt. And now I'm back. I'm mixing in a little bit of Hunter Lipke. Now I've been out 2 series. Now when I finally get back to me, I got to recalibrate again. Okay, what did I see last time? Are these holes opening and closing quicker than they're supposed to? What has the rhythm of what we've been doing changed? And so that's why I never really like running back by committee. My hope is, I know the unofficial depth chart came out today and Zeke is number 1. My hope is that it's Rico on game day and that Rico stays healthy, because make no mistakes about it. Like, Zeke had his time. Rico's the better back. Like today, Rico's the better back of the group. Problem is, Rico can't stay out of the training room. He's always hurt. And the best ability is availability. And so for me, if Rico can find a way to stay healthy, I think you give him the bulk of the carries. I think this becomes your bell cow. When you get into the red zone or short yardage, you bring Zeke in. You can use Hunter Lipke in some different packages and stuff like that. I still, for the life of me, don't know how they're going to deploy Deuce Vaughn. I think, like I said last year around this time, you're going to see a lot of DMPs in his future, and mainly because you can't be the number 3 running back and not be a core special teams guy, meaning playing all the special teams. So I find it hard that he's going to get a jersey out of the 46 when you're the 3rd running back. And you just don't have time for those 5 or 6 plays that you want to put into the game.
What do you think went behind the whole Dalvin Cook signing then, considering the fact they got 4 guys that are capable of doing everything? And if you look at Zeke on the surface, look, Zeke, you don't see him, but there's a massive Zeke fathead on my wall over here, right? So I'm a Zeke guy. But is there a significant difference between Ezekiel Elliott and Dalvin Cook right now?
No, I think they said 2 halves make a whole. Right. You're right. I think they said 2 halves make a whole. And if we can, bring Dalvin along, allow him to ramp up and learn the playbook, but also have the opportunity that, if one of these, if Zeke wears down, we'll have a similar style back that has some legs left that may help us in the second half of the season. So I think they saw it as, low risk, high reward, because you can put them on the practice squad, pay them a minimum amount of money and say, hey, if I got 2 half of players and together, I can probably make a whole player, in hopes that Rico stays healthy throughout the entire season.
All right. Bret, myself, and his brother Keith are all big advocates for Deuce Vaughn. And I feel like when Deuce Vaughn's in space, Duke can make a play or 2, right? But it's like, how many times are we going to get him out there to try to even get a play in space? It's very weird. I don't know, Bret.
Look,
go ahead.
I agree with Jesse, though. I want Rico to be the starter. If he can stay healthy, he can do some damage. Keep him in, let him get a rhythm. I mean, Zeke is great, too, to be back there, because even though his production may have declined, that kid can block. And,
and he's a really good pass catcher as well. So, like, you can use him in the pass game.
And he did that coming from bum-ass Mac Jones. But go ahead, Keith.
I think, honestly, this year we should be a pass-heavy offense, spread it out. Get a back there, to protect extra protection for Dak, especially this week, because you got 2 rookies starting in the interior. You got to have to deal with Myles Garrett. And getting back to Deuce, though, that kid, look, he has proven himself over and over and over again. And as short as he is, that kid is powerful. I mean, I've seen him when I was at the Raider game, he was dragging the pile. And he's so little that they can't really see him, and he can hit those holes. Now, I'm not saying he should be the 1 back, but they definitely need to get him involved in the offense. Even just put him out as a slot. And if we need a goal line, because let's be honest, we all agree. I don't know if Jesse, if Zeke Pollard is the reason why we lost to the Dolphins. I don't know why he didn't turn it up and get in that end zone, but. To have a good red zone running back like Zeke that can just power in, but Lepke can do the same thing. I think the committee could work, but if Rico stays healthy, I think he'll have a good season, man. And I would want him to be the one.
I think I'm height prejudice. I think this is the first time I've admitted it. I think I'm height prejudice.
It's a safe space, Jesse. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think I'm height prejudice. As someone who is above average, 6'3.5", I think I'm height prejudice, and it's my prejudice against Deuce. I don't believe in. I know that he can make some plays, but I think we're making it, like, as a whole fan base, like, we're trying to make an exception for something that is not the norm. Like, we're like you don't see you don't see the third string running back. You don't see the fourth string running back. You don't even know who he is. I think Deuce is a great story. But again, it's we always have to go above and beyond the norm to say what we should do with Deuce Vaughn. Like, you can line Deuce up Vaughn in the slot, and guess what? The passing, that, like, his radius, you know how, like, to be that small, like, you gotta be damn near perfect. Like, you can't be too far this way or too far that way. It can't be a little bit high. And I gotta be able to, like you said, I gotta be able to see him over the offensive line. I may lose him in the rubbish, you know what I'm saying, of stuff happening. And when he has these moments in these preseason games, they're never against the ones. They're never against the ones.
It was funny. Like, I was very critical of Trey Lance's play, you know, outside of the wheels that we know he has. There was one play, I forget, I don't remember the exact verbiage, but they're like, he sailed one, quote, too high for Vaughn. And I was like, well, if that's anybody else, it's in his chest.
Right, in the flat, right? It was in the flat. I was like, oh, I was calling. I was like, oh, I'm like, you know, maybe Trey could have brought the ball down, but this is the issue that you have with Deuce Vaughn is there is zero room for passing error. If it's too high, he's like legitimately struggles getting up there. And it's different from what he did at Kansas State. Like that's different because we see it all the time in college, things that you can do in college that it just doesn't work that way in the league.
I saw him at the Raider game, and that kid is explosive. And I don't know how they could fit him in. I mean, he's definitely a weapon. And I get what you're saying. There's a lot of, well, we got to do this if this happens.
So let me break down. Let me break down practice to you I just want to give you an understanding because we talk about these plays that have to get put in, and there's not enough time. So in practice, right, you only get like an hour, and like the new rules only give you like an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours, right? And so every period is broken down. You got your special teams period, you got your goal line periods, you have your 9-on-7 periods, your mojo moments. And so as you're trying to, and this is leading up for game week, right? So you on Mondays, you kind of go through the playbook, you install. Tuesdays are players' days off. Wednesday, you hit it really hard, right? Like Wednesday is the day. Thursday is kind of, you put in some of your second and third down stuff. Friday is usually your fast Friday, which they switched it up under Mike McCarthy, is they do a walkthrough on Friday and then a ramp up on Saturday to get you ready for the game. So I say all that to say is there isn't enough time to practice these plays and these package plays for Deuce Vaughn when you're getting to the game plan and you're saying, where else is he going to play on Sunday? Because if we don't have plans to actually play him on Sunday, then we don't have time to practice these things. And Mike is from the old school coaching kind of, regimen where if they don't see certain things in practice and on film, they're not comfortable at bringing it to the game. And so if on Tuesday they're sitting in their meetings and Coach McCarthy looks over and he goes, all right, Bones, what's Deuce role this week? And he goes, right now he's the backup returner on punt and kickoff, and that's all we have him at right now. And then he looks over to the running back coach and he's like, well, we're going to go with Hunter Lemke because he's doing more in the organization of the game on Sunday that requires one of the 46 jerseys. And I think that's where we sometimes get a little bit lost with the Deuce Vaughn situation. If there's 3 healthy guys in front of him, then we're going to go with those guys because those guys fit in the scheme. And on top of that, if there is a package surprise play that we want to run, guess who gets that now? The other small guy, Cavante, because Cavante is the number 4 or 5 receiver. Plus, he's our for sure number 1 kickoff returner and our for sure number 1 punt returner. So if we have any gadget plays that we're going to run with the small guys, I'm going to run it with Cavante, whether he's in the backfield or out wide or whatever it is, because he's going to have one of the 46 jerseys on Sunday. There's just sometimes there's not enough time in the week to work Deuce Vaughn in, and that's why you saw so many DNPs for him last year.
Deuce is gonna have that Rudy moment where like everybody's gonna have to put their jersey on Mike McCarthy's desk in order for him to dress. That's really all I can say right now about Deuce. And I like him. I love the kid.
I like him too. Like he's a
story's great. He's a fucking hard-nosed kid. I get it.
He's a good kid, man. He works
again, man.
really
And
hard.
listen, not for nothing, Jesse. This is a good problem to have, right? Like somebody with his skill set. I understand your height bias and prejudice, but like I do think that the kid possesses some kind of skill set and a toolbox that like there's just not enough seats at the table right now for him.
He's a great pure runner. And people, unless he gets the one or two running back spot, which it doesn't look like it's going to happen. I get what Jesse's saying. How are they going to incorporate it? They don't have the time to incorporate it. But again, that low center of gravity, I mean, whether you're 5'5" or 5'8", or, there's been a lot of small running backs that have done some damage. I mean, look at, what was his name for the Eagles, the other Deuce. Even Barry was short.
I mean, but this is like historical short. Like this is
like people like people want to like make the comparison of, remember what was the other Kansas State running back that came out, played for the Eagles? Darren Sproles. Right. Go look at Darren Sproles.
That's who I was talking about.
Go look at Darren Sproles' first 3 years before he finally got a shot. 3-4 years in the National Football League. He was on kickoff. He was on punt. He was on punt return. He was on kickoff return. Like, that's how Darren Sproles got a jersey every week. And then eventually he has a jersey, so you start running packages for him. Then they go, oh, wow. He can actually run. He can actually catch. And then the evolution of Darren Sproles, the running back, came into play, and he started being a third down back and getting more reps. But his first couple years, he wasn't getting that. Some guys got hurt, and he was able to be in the fold because he was a core special teams guy. And then he developed into that. And that's the one thing. And this is not like Deuce is running from those things. Like, I don't want to be on special teams. But at the end of the day, Bones Fossil is saying, can you block the guy who's 280 pounds?
Right. So now we'll shift it over to an area of your expertise there, Jesse, and that is the brand new shiny wide receiver core that we have going on here. And I say brand new because I really feel like there's a bunch of new faces that can make an immediate impact. And we have some pet cats throughout the course of the preseason, me, Brett, and Keith.
There's only one player in the wide receiver room that needs to make an impact this year. One. And that would
be Jalen Tolbert.
That's it. Anything we get from Flournoy, anything we get from the other Jalen, how many Jalen? They got 16 Jalen.
17.
You know what I'm saying?
17 Rich.
That's the
Brunson's also on the team. He's running the point.
Yeah, like that's it. Like, yeah, right. It's like there's only one player. Like, we know CD's gonna be CD. Brandon Cooks is going to be a steady Eddie. He's going to do. There's only one player in that wide receiver room who needs to have a breakout year. It's time. Like, we don't have any more time to wait for you. We don't have any more time to worry about your mentals, and I don't mean that as far as mental health, because I'm a mental health advocate. I'm talking about your mental about the game. We don't have any more time to wait. We don't have any more time for you to try to figure this thing out. It's now or never for you. Like, for me, it's for Jalen Tolbert. It's now or never. Like, this is your moment where I said this on one of the 10 shows that I do. If by mid-season, Jalen Tolbert should have firmly taken over the number 2 wide receiver spot. Like, he should have firmly taken over. It should be, Brandon Cooks is the number 3. Jalen Tolbert should have firmly taken over the number 2 wide receiver spot in this offense. It is time. It is time. I'm not waiting on dude anymore. Brother, you have had more than enough time, more than enough opportunity. They have been patient with you. They have spoon-fed you. They have held your hand. We're done. Kick the floaties off. Take the life vests off. Get off the damn boat. Right? It's time for you to swim. And if you don't swim, then give it to Flournoy. Like, start getting the other guys ready. Because if you don't get it in year 3, it ain't happening for you. And so you need to leave that 200-yard season type thing. There's got to be an 800-yard season for you. There's got to be an 800-yard season, 6 touchdowns. You need to be the definitive number 2 receiver by the time we come out of the bye.
Yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree with that. And I think that it is time for a guy like him to step it up. And we did see glimpses, we saw glimpses last year and we were like, okay, he's made some plays. And then into the preseason this year, I knew right away, I think it was the first preseason game, he didn't even dress. And I was like, so they think our guy is just locked in at number 2 or 3.
Which I found weird. Which I found a little weird.
I did too, because then he dressed the second game.
Yeah, it was.
So I was like, I didn't hear any injury or anything like that, but whatever the case may be, I agree with you on that one. And obviously, we'll get to Bret's expertise as we flip to the other side of the ball. Is this defense that's coming in under Zimmer? Clearly, the reason why Dallas couldn't get out of their own way last year. And look, Dak did throw some interceptions, some nasty ones, a pick 6. We get it. But at the end of the day, we got the CJ Anderson treatment last year. Like that bowling ball. I still have nightmares about that chubby mother.
He was on the couch like 2 weeks before that. He was like on the couch.
Right, dude. And it drives me nuts. That guy ran downhill for like 800 yards against us. It was disgusting. So now
he was throwing up on the sideline. He was so out of shape.
Right.
Crazy.
Dude, I was throwing up on my couch because he was so out of shape. So I understand. But now looking at the defense this year, I'm hard pressed to say that it's obviously the Bland injury sucks, right? And there's no way around that. We got to weather the storm. They believe in Carson, and I guess I'm going to have to as a fan. What are you going to do, right? Like they didn't want to go out and we found the whole we like our guys, and I was like, great, we're going to just roll into this and see what Booth can do, and like little odds and ends. But I'm more concerned about the run defense. And I was talking to Brett and Keith last night via text. I still think, even with the signings of a Linval Joseph, even with the signings of a Phillips, all this interior, and Mozzie's supposed to be coming on, do you still think the interior defensive line is still the Achilles heel of this defense, other than the linebackers, which is kind of thin? And I say that figuratively and physically.
Well, I mean, we improved on it.
Where?
I think so.
Where?
Linebackers.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant defensive line.
Yeah, I mean, we're all excited. We're very excited about guys like Overshawn and stuff like that. And when Mike has got to drop back, let's do it. But I'm more worried about that run defense, those big boys up front. And it's great to have 1,000 pounds of mass in front of you, but is that enough? Is that going to be enough for us not to get run all over? Like, do we dodge the bullet? I say dodge the bullet, but Patrick Walker was like, you better not sleep on Jerome Ford, or we're going to have that one time. It happens once a year. Brett and Keith have talked to me about it a million times about how, like, there's always that one backup running back who has a career day against the Dallas Cowboys. That's just the way it works out. But how do you think this defense, specifically the defensive front, stacks up to a team like last year?
They're as bad as last year until they show me otherwise. Like, okay. That's just how I feel about it. I'm happy that they did at least get actual humans that play the linebacking position, like body frame, everything, like their actual position, like their job description. When you read the job description, like their job description says, "Hey, I'm a linebacker, not a safety who can play a big nickel or big dime." So that part, I'm happier with. But until they show me that, like. And it's gonna be that way in 4 days. The Cleveland Browns are gonna say, "We know who you are, we know what you've been, and we're gonna see if you fix the problem. And if you haven't, don't worry, we're going to abuse it." And so until the Cowboys show me otherwise, because with that type of, like, those guys, a lot of those guys weren't. They were kind of the tail end of training camp. You didn't see them in the preseason. Like, you saw some of them, but you didn't see most of them in the preseason. And you still haven't seen the full unit together under Mike Zimmer. So there is still questions about who they are. I think they're still going to be building this defense out as the year goes along. So right now, the run defense, the middle of this defense is still a concern for me. And they're going to have to show me not in one game. You're going to have to show me consistently, because it's been an issue for so long. It's been an issue under 3 or 4 different defensive coordinators. So until you can actually go out there and put it on film consistently, and you're going to have to do that this year because you're playing the AFC South. And there are teams. Baltimore's running the football. Pittsburgh's running the football. Cincinnati's going to run the football. And even at times, you're going to have KC's going to run the football. But every team are going to say, did you fix the problem that you had up front? And I don't know if, I get it. Linval is 300,000 pounds, 36 years old. It's a big, you know what I'm saying? Like that dude's long in the tooth. A lot of these guys are older players. So we'll see. But until you put it out there consistently, it's a concern for me.
Brett, I know you're optimistic.
I am, but again, the interior D lineman is a question. I mean, I think it's the weakest spot. Getting Kendricks in there, I think, was a big move, considering he did play in Zimmer's defense before. Which it's good to get a coach on the field, which I think we were lacking last year. I don't know. We got 2 rookies starting now. We got Carson, and then how do you say it? Leufa playing, which that kid ran downfield. I know there was a couple of plays where Keith broke it down on film where, he took on the block with the wrong shoulder, bounced it out. Is Damone Clark starting though, right? Not Overshown, even though I'm sure that they're gonna rotate.
Yeah.
I would say on paper, the Cowboys and the Browns match up. We're almost kind of like the same team a little, with our strengths and weaknesses. It does help that Chubb's not starting. Again, I don't want to put the Malokia on it. But I think it's I think we've improved from last year, which isn't saying much.
And let me say this about not to jump away from that, but to talk about Kalen Carson. I was in Oxnard for 3 or 4 days, and one of the privileges, I guess, I guess it's a privilege of being a player that's in the media. I still wear the badge of former player, and so if you're ever in Oxnard, when you're at the hotel, there are 2 eating areas, right? So when I don't know why I'm explaining this because you guys will never be able to see it. But when you walk into the hotel, there's a left little eating area that kind of media and other personnel eating there. And then there's one right ahead where players and coaches eat. Well, I'm media and I was there for some other stuff as well. But I'm like, the hell with that. I'm like, I shed blood out there. I'm eating in here with the rest of the guys. And so I go in there and I'm having breakfast. And so I run into Al Harris at the waffle machine, and quick little story with Al Harris. I brought up my rookie year. I was in Cincinnati, and my vet was Ocho Cinco, and the one guy that Ocho would give the utmost respect to was Al Harris. He would tell you, he's like, man, if Al Harris ever presses you and gets his hands on you, you're done. You're done. And so Chad always gave Al Harris the utmost. So I kind of reminded him of that, and we had a little laugh there. And I asked him, I said, what do you think about the young kid? And he looked at me, and if you ever get a chance, and I know why now that Al Harris was why Dan Quinn wanted Al Harris in Washington, and why he became the assistant head coach. If you're ever around Al Harris for 45 seconds, he changes you. He's one of those guys where if you're around him, you're better. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's one of those guys where if you're just around him, you're better. You spend 60 seconds with him, you leave better. He just has that type of effect. He is, and I like to judge it sometimes. Jesse Holley, would follow Al Harris. No questions asked. What do you need me to do? And so I asked him, I said, this is before the Bland injury. I said, what about the young boy? And he stopped and he looked at me and he gave me this look. And he looked at me and he said, I got another one. He said, I got another one. And I said, really? He said, I got another one. He said, this kid wants to learn. He said he's eager to learn. All he wants to do is, he says, after every play, he's asking for feedback. He's watching the film. He's coming to the office. So now, what I believe in my heart of hearts, from the short time that I spent with Al Harris, and he had me ready to go. And he looked at me and he told me that about Carson. I'm not saying he's going to be the next Deron Bland or the next Trayvon Diggs, but there is something to be said about a guy who's had that many reps in college at a Power 5 school. Say what you want about being Wake. He played against a lot of other good football programs. And that translates. I know that for a fact. That translates to the league. And in Al Harris, I trust. So I would be less likely to be worried about the young kid. He'll have some growing pains. But Al Harris looked me in my eyes and told me he got another one. And he was talking about that kid.
Jesse, I'll tell you this, man, and Dave will tell you, I was so worried we were going to lose him, Al Harris. And, Broward County has to get a shout out because that's where, he's from. But I love this Carson kid, man. I really do. And I love the fact that he's starting because, I don't like the fact how he's starting, but our secondary is, in my opinion, top 3, at least top 5 in the NFL right now. And, getting into this game against Cleveland, I personally don't think it's going to be close. And I really don't. I think Dallas is gonna play just like against the Giants. I think our defense is gonna score some points. We're gonna get some picks. We're gonna get in the backfield. Our offense, should play pretty decent. They got a great defense that we got to worry about because their secondary is no joke. But I'm really, really hyped up on our defense, man. I think it's way better. It's just getting with the coordinator, even though I liked Quinn, but I just think that Zimmer plays to our strengths. And he is an answer.
I got to admit, man, just me being the nostalgic number nerd that I am, when you put on that 2-1 and you play cornerback, you better bring it there, Carson. You better bring it. Look, we gave it to Gilly last year and he brought it, right? My favorite player of all time is Dion, and there's no questions asked about that. So I always have a soft spot for the 2-1 and the cornerback. Not your favorite position. Cowboy. No, he's not my favorite Cowboy. He's my favorite athlete. Yeah. I'm a Troy guy. That's just that's how I was raised. Okay, that's it. I didn't get to see Staubach, so I got to see the next best thing. But all right, so look, to put a bow on this, we don't want to keep Jesse too much longer. So Jesse, you're looking at this Cowboys team. The rest of the conference is getting better, not even just the division, right? It's obviously the NFC East. Washington's going to take a step forward. We don't know how many steps forward, but definitely a step forward. Philadelphia on paper look incredible. They got the dream team. If you remember that dream team thing from way back when.
Shout out to Vince Young.
Yeah, exactly. Love that. But yeah, so they got a great team. Then there's the Detroits and the Green Bays, and Chicago might take another step. And and now you got the Falcons aren't a laughing stock anymore. They're going to look good. Kirk Cousins is going to wheel and deal down there. I finally think we see a decent season out of Kyle Pitts, believe it or not. But then you have on the West, it's clearly San Fran to lose, but it's also the Rams are right there, man. So it's this NFC has probably never been deeper. 2 years ago, I would say Dallas, come on, we can cakewalk into the championship game, right? And that was, that's just me being optimistic. But when you look at it, 2-part question, how do you think the Cowboys will finish record-wise? And your score and prediction for this week, if you're allowed to give it. I know you have other shows that you got to do, but if you think the Cowboys are going to get out of Cleveland with a big road win to start the season.
Yeah, when I'm done with this, I'm gonna start watching my film for the game. So I'm gonna hold off on the prediction just yet.
Totally cool.
But I think I see this team, and I'm not as optimistic as far as what this team is defensively. I think there are a lot of questions that need to be answered. I think when you get a new system defensively, it takes time for it to gel. And one of the biggest things that this defense and these defenders now have to adjust to when it comes to Zim is everything that he does is predicated on being where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be there, every single time. And for the last 3 or 4 years, it's been a lot of kind of, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm gonna go left when I should be going right. I'm going to go inside when I should be maintaining outside. I'm going to get a sack when I'm supposed to be maintaining these two gaps. And so this team, and a lot of these players are on this team that were allowed to do that whole, I'm going to do my own thing. So how quick do you kind of, you break the wild horse into being what you need him to be? And so that, to me, I think takes a little time. And I think you're going to see the ups and downs in that from what Zim, because everything that I've learned and heard, and I talked to Greg Ellis, and that's my Tar Heel brother. And he talks about, man, like you gotta be disciplined, like you gotta be disciplined. And this team historically, defensively, just hasn't always been that. And I don't know if the time that since Zim got here in the spring and in the summer, that's enough time to fully turn this squad into a disciplined football team, right? And this schedule is no cakewalk. This is a beast schedule, bro.
16th hardest in the league right now.
This
so right in the middle of the pack.
This is a beast schedule, and you talk about some of the teams where you gotta be disciplined. Like, how can you not be disciplined playing against Lamar Jackson? You can't call your shot. You know what I mean? You got to be disciplined playing against the Niners. You can't call your shots in those type of games. You got, like, you know what I'm saying? So there's other teams in there as well, but there's a lot of teams where you just have to be disciplined. So that's where I lend my hesitation on has this defense fully turned the corner. And I have less worry about Guyton than I do about Cooper. I have more worries there than I do on the outside. I can help outside. I got a lot of tight end out there. I got to have a back go out there. I can roll away from them. I can do a bunch of different things to help. And I don't have to go full Chaz Green. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, just figure it out. I'm not going to go full Chaz Green out there. But for Cooper, it's because it's almost like the reverse of Mozzie. Like, Mozzie thought in college, I could just overpower everybody and I'll win. And then you realize that, oh yeah, those guys are as strong or stronger than me. And for Cooper, it's going to be, no one's just going to run down the middle of your chest and let you lock out with them. Because if they do that, then they're going to be in for a long day because you're that stout and you're that strong.
Right.
It's going to be the speed that he has to deal with. And that's the area that he struggles with a little bit, is dealing with those speed moves from the interior. And while that plays an impact, is because where does Dak not like the pocket to be messed up at? In front of him. Right in the middle. So Dak can step up, step to the side. He can see all that coming from those areas, right? But I worry about Cooper dealing with the speed of some of the guys on the inside and the adjustments of that, and him being able to not be lunging forward or trying to get out there, and now guys are clubbing by him, because eventually guys are going to realize, oh yeah, I can't just, buck up with him because he's going to be too strong, and he's going to be able to sit down and really hold that they're going to start moving him around a little bit. So that's where my concern is at, because that affects Dak a lot more than anything outside with Tyler Guyton.
All right. Well, listen, from a record standpoint, I feel like you have them right, kind of like
I got him at 10-7.
I was just going to say 9-8, 10-7 type
10-7. Yeah.
Okay. Brett, take it home. Where do you got the Cowboys coming for? I mean, you think Dak's going to have his best year? You also think that we're going to apparently blow the doors off of Cleveland. How do you feel this is going to go?
Well, I mean, look, when I say blow the doors, I'm saying we win by at least 10. Cooper having, I mean, the center is really important. Obviously, I mean that's why I do like that we got the Zach Martin there and Guyton. And I think you said that in the text. You need those dogs in the middle, especially in this game. I mean, if I was Cleveland, I would definitely put Myles Garrett right in that A gap, switching over. Just busting through
the basketball dribble, right? Like I can't get that image out of my head. And let me just, before you finish, and what makes that so difficult, because all you have to do to get Miles one-on-one is I just take my two other tackles and I line them right over top of my guards. They can't help down anymore.
They can't.
Yeah,
You're right.
They can't help down. I just line them up right over take my two tackles and I line them right over the guards.
Yeah, but
and now they got to go there first, and that gives Miles that ability to do whatever he does.
and then that's when Dak checks to a run. But go ahead.
I hope so. I hope that he does that.
I was gonna say that's where like having a Zeke would be important in this type of game. Have him back there just for extra protection. Also, you can hold them up just a little, peel out, maybe hit them on a screen. But I really think where we're going to excel is I think our defense is going to do really well. I mean, again, on paper, I'm sure that they're going to try and expose Carson. I mean, he's a rookie, but with Diggs out there, and then don't forget, I mean, our safeties are strong. I mean, Donovan Wilson, Malik Hooker. We do. I personally will be putting Overshown on the outside, just getting as much pressure as we can on Deshaun. But I think that at the end of this week, by week, I think the Packers are going to beat the Eagles. Okay. I really do. I think the Eagles, as much talent as they have from a couple guys without ousting anybody, I know that there is some type of weird internal conflict going on in the organization. Vikings should beat the Giants, and the Bucs should beat Washington. I think
so
we
first place at the end of week one. Perfect.
Yeah, I'm thinking, and you could hold me to this. We keep receipts. I think Dallas is going to win. I mean, I'm actually going to put that on a 4-game parlay. I do think. Well, I think Green Bay is a great team this year, and
the
Eagles,
bets are of the show. They're not. I am not betting because I do work for an organization and I cannot be betting. So those bets are of the Jersey Boyz, not of Jesse Holley. Yeah.
Don't have to co-sign on it. It's just me. I think the Cowboys come in. They're an underdog. I do love the fact that they didn't even put us in the top 10 teams to make it to the Super Bowl this year.
Love that.
I love that.
Like that.
I love that. And, the question is, are we on paper, are we a better team than last year? And I say absolutely. And don't forget too, man, that Stevens kid as a tight end is that kid's like another receiver. I mean, he's a big body. He can go up, he can catch the ball. We got Fergie too, who I guess on a lot of the fantasy draft boards is going your number one tight end. Can't forget about that, right? Defensively, Overshown to me is like Micah 2.0. You get him on the outside, that kid flies, boy. That kid flies. Well, a lesser version of Micah, whatever that is.
You said so. Basically, his backup, not a 2.0 version of him.
Yeah,
just like
yeah,
a 2.0 by default.
The lower
Micah 2.0. I was like, well, then
he's a smaller version of him.
Yeah, that changes a lot of things now.
Man.
Yeah, two Micahs, that changes a lot.
I saw Overshown, remember last year, I mean, until he got hurt, man. That was my guy. That kid flies. And sometimes that's a bad thing, especially with a Zimmer-type offense where you don't want to overcommit. I mean, defense, where you don't want to overcommit and take yourself out of a play. But that kid can find the ball, man. And between we got DeMarcus Lawrence, we got Mike on the other side who might be jumping back to linebacker. You still got Golston on the ends. I think that we're really gonna. I'm excited, man. And mark my words, I'll probably be disappointed, but
no. The best part about this whole thing, Jesse, is that there's a verb now that gets played into our group chat, and it says "little Sturch is little Sturchin'," meaning me getting way too excited about the Dallas Cowboys. We at Little Ernston over here going absolutely ham, and I love it. From me to you, bro. I've been critical.
I've been critical. Last year, I thought we were going to have a fucking amazing year, which we did until the first game of the playoffs. I really do think that this is the perfect system for Dak, and and our defense, man. I really think we've addressed some problems. Again, question marks, of course. You got to go by our last game, but that middle linebacker position, I think we did enough to try and help the problem. Don't know how much we helped until after this game, but this is the matchup for us. These teams are almost identical, with the exception we have a better quarterback.
Well, look, we're all
look at that. Look at the receivers, dude. You got Cooper. You got what? Judy.
Just so everybody's clear, I don't know what kind of headspace Amari Cooper is going to be in because of the fact that there's been rumors about being traded out to San Francisco for Brandon Ayuk. So I'm sure he's all like, "Yeah, no, sure, that was real nice of you guys. Let me make sure I give it up my all this week."
Well, he might give it his all this week because I think he's still a little bit. It's the Cowboy hate that, because he and Jerry didn't see eye to eye on.
It's always that.
On some COVID things.
Look at say less because look at Simi Fehoko the other day when he was he's doing the TO thing. I'm like, you got to be shitting me with this kid. No, I was like, I mean, that's great. It's preseason, wonderful, bravo. Hope you make the team. Hope you made the team. I think you did. But listen, it's going to be an interesting year. A lot of talking heads out there saying Dallas aren't not even going to make the playoffs. So I would love to prove them all wrong. Jesse's got them at 10-7, and if you think about it, from the top to the bottom, 16 teams in the NFC, that should get you in the dance, either as a wild card or if the division struggles, who knows?
We're winning. I think we're winning the division this year, man.
I think so too. I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it 11-6 this year. As not another 12-win season. 11-6 for the Dallas Cowboys this year. So
I think Washington's on their way up, but not where they're going to be. And I think the Giants, I mean, there's a big question mark on them. I think they kind of went down a little. Eagles, they imploded second half of the season, and there's a reason for that. And I don't even know if that problem was addressed. Talent-wise, they're probably the best. Say what?
I said, yeah, they addressed it. They brought in Kellen Moore.
Well, I'm just saying, they've obviously improved getting Saquon.
Of course.
And, talent-wise on paper, they look good. But you know what? They can't do that stupid push because Kelsey's retired.
Oh, trust me. They'll still do it. I saw it in a high school game the other day. I wanted to throw up. Anyway.
They need to make that illegal. I don't know what that is.
They should. They're worried about CTE. All right, fine. Don't let anybody smash heads as fucking hard as they've been doing. So, in any event, with that being said, Jesse, man, thank you so much for joining us this week as the honorary 4th Jersey boy. Shout out to Keith over there listening on the sidelines. I know he was jonesing to get back. He'll be back next week to break down the Browns win or loss. Hopefully, it's a win. Obviously,
we got to come back. We got to come back mid-season.
Yes, let's do that. Let's make sure we get a mid-season Jesse Holley report.
I want you to. I'm telling you right now, man. These are my parlays. I'm taking all 4.
Again, these are Bret Ernst's parlays.
Yes,
not Jesse Holley. Jesse, I'm going to put it in. Don't worry, Jesse. I'll put it in the podcast in the YouTube description that no gambling talk has anything to do.
They know I'm a degenerate. They don't care. I win though. I
don't need the NFL come and check my IP addresses and all of that. They're like, are you giving those Jersey boys inside information?
No, that's great. Like, hey, remember the new deal with DLLS? Yeah, that's gone. Sorry. It's like,
listen. This is all Bret. This is all me. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with the Jersey boys.
None of that AI shit.
And I'll bring my slip so I'm documenting it. We're going 1-0. We're going to be the rest of the division.
Say Jesse Holley.
Yeah, right. It's my area.
Guys, with that being said, for Dave Sturchio, Bret Ernst, and of course Jesse Holley, this has been another jam-packed, loaded, longer episode of the Jersey Boyz Podcast. Let's go Cowboys. Let's get this dub. Let's get the season rolling, and we'll see you guys on the other side next week to break down the Browns game. Good night, everybody.
Hey, this is Tony Soprano, and you're listening to Jersey Boyz Podcast with your hosts, Dave Sturchio and the Ernst Boys. I mean, I could give a shit about the Cowboys. We're in New Jersey. These guys got balls being Cowboys fans in Jersey. Anyways, enjoy. Well, whatever.
How about this, Cowboys?